Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the most, Griever, as always, coming to you from my brand new office. I hope you guys enjoy the new look and everything. We have better lighting, better sound quality, and just overall, I'm very happy because I put a lot of hard work into it. So I hope you guys enjoy the new aesthetic and the new look. But that is not why we are here. We are here because of the title of this video, right down here and everything like that. We are here for another manga chapter review for Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn. Yona of the Dawn, chapter 226, entitled The Tenderness of the Dawn. The Tenderness of the Dawn. Every single time you say Dawn, you cannot just say it normally. You have to opera sing your way through the dawn. That's how you got to do it. And by the way, guys, just before we get underway with this chapter, because I have a few things to say about this chapter. Not a whole lot happened, so it might be a shorter review. But just to let you guys know, I got a brand new office. Everything's great. I got a goddamn fly in the room. So if you guys randomly see me deciding to do my impersonation of Thor with this big thing, then, my intention is to smash it with a hammer. It's a rubber hammer so that I don't hurt, the window or anything like that. But anyways, if you guys randomly see me pause and be like, into Thor cosplay mode, now you know why. Anyways, flies bug me. I don't know about you guys. Flies in the room bug the shit out of me. But that being said, let's get on with the review because, alright, right off the bat, I do enjoy the fact that they're still acknowledging, Hawk realizes... The beginning part of the chapter is mostly fluff, and I don't mind it, but the fact that Hawk recognizes that he was a little out of it, and he's like, oh crap, that wasn't a dream. Oh man, I let the hormones take over and everything, didn't I? Yep, I did. Oh shit. That's one of those oh shit moments when you realize you done goofed. You know what I mean? But what I like about this moment is that even though it's played off like Hawk's just thinking to himself, that was a dream? No, that wasn't a dream. Shit. She's just thinking, because the whole bonk thing and everything, it was all good for her. She's just thinking that Hawk is better now, the rain has stopped and everything, right? The dawn is beautiful, the sky is clear, come on Hawk, look at how beautiful the sunrise is, that kind of idea, right? And this is where Hawk says, I don't hear the sound of the water anymore. You know what I mean? So by the looks of this, and I expressed this a couple of times in the last review, we might not be going on a whole arc of Hawk trying to get over his PTSD from the flood and everything like that. Of course, right now he hasn't actually had a good sleep. He hasn't had a good rest since the flood and all the stuff happened. Blood loss, running on adrenaline for days now. Finally, he had his first rest, and so just the weight of everything sort of came crashing down upon him. So I did argue that potentially we can go on a bit of a mini PTSD arc with Hawk, where he's not super confident, where he's more scared, where he's more frightful, something like that. We could go down that road, but we might not. Maybe this is just a one-and-done opportunity. They have the option to do both. By the looks of it, it's not going to go down the PTSD route, which I'm okay with. You know why? Because Hawk being shell-shocked for a couple of chapters, no problem, totally understandable. I don't know if I want to go on an entire journey with Hawk being shell-shocked. Personally, I don't know if I want to go month to month while he tries to recuperate from this. Not saying it wouldn't be realistic and fair to the character, but just for the sake of moving on with the plot, I just don't feel like that was going to be the best direction. And by the looks of this, in one of the first few pages, Hawk has it was a one and done thing. He's pretty much gotten over it. Not to say it might not come up later, but it's not going to be this whole traumatic, he's in the fetal position sort of deal for the next, for the rest of the year. You know what I mean? So anyways, I do enjoy that aspect. We do get that Hawk's trying to recover and everything, and Min-so comes and sees him and says basically you're super pale, no, this is my normal skin color. It's like, no, it's not, you're pale as hell, your blood loss is crazy and all that stuff. Yona says basically, I hit him with a hammer, right? And basically is apologizing for that. I hit him as hard as I could with all my strength. Bump, It's like, okay, so, and then Min-so's like, Yona, why would you do that? And Hawk's like, nope, never mind, don't ask about it, that one's on me. me. So Hawk owns up to the responsibility that coming on a little strong might get you bonked on the head. Let's just be realistic about that, right? So the dragons come in, they see, and what's awesome is apparently one thing I really like is that Kija and jae-ha and stuff, they show up. Though I don't think we see Shina or Zeno, but they bring Hawk his glaive. They've had the glaive reforged, so I'm assuming that his real glaive is gone, like lost in the flood, whatever. But they say reforged, so I'm assuming that maybe they got it from the wreckage or something, like they found it in the wreckage, but it was beaten to shit, and they reforged it. So I'm not 100% sure. They said it was quite worn out. So I'm going to go out on a limb. Like at first I was like, well, wow, they got him a new glaive. But I guess they went to the battlefield. They found his glaive. I don't remember that happening in a chapter. Was it in an off panel and I'm just forgetting? But either way, the fact of the matter is Hawk has his main weapon back. So the Thunder Beast of Koka Kingdom has returned. And I'm pretty stoked about that and everything, right? So Kija and the dragons, everyone pretty happy about that. Minso ends up thanking Hawk all about like, oh, by the way, the Senjutsu you brought is it's doing wonders. It's absolutely fantastic, right? Like it's not curing His Majesty's illness, but it's doing a great job. So thank you very much and stuff. And Hawk is of course just not. He's like, oh no, Yona is the one who gave us all to retrieve it. So. Like Hawk doesn't want it. Now that everything's over, now that all the blood, the adrenaline and the blood rush and everything's done, he doesn't want to really acknowledge the fact that he went out of his way for soo-won. Of course, he's a guy. He's a guy, right? Guys don't want to do this, especially their enemies. We don't want to do this. I just happened to watch the last episode of a show I was watching with my wife on Netflix, and there was a big altercation in like one episode ago, and throughout the whole next episode, they're all in this whole nip, like ready to come to blows thing. And then all of a sudden it's, yeah, forgive and forget, shake hands, thanks, buddy. And I'm like, that is not how guys operate, all right? Guys don't just push everything under the rug like it never happened. There's got to be some resolution. There's got to be all right, get a shot in on me or something like that. Or go get drunk together, have a few swings, tell some lies. Like there has to be a moment where guys need a moment together and stuff. So this is much better in that regard. Guys act this way. They don't want to accept when they have mixed feelings about another guy or another friend or another person. We don't want to acknowledge if we actually went out of our way to help them, because if we're still in a bad place with that person, we say our words are fuck them, fuck you, I hope they, oh, too bad, so sad, I don't give a shit, right? That's how guys are. That's how we act. Now, that's the surface. That's what we portray. But sometimes, like this situation with Hawk, it's very much, you know what, like he does go out of his way, but he doesn't want other people to know he actually cares, or know that he actually, even though his friend did him dirty, or he slept with his girlfriend, or whatever, real life stuff, right? He still has this little bud or seed of friendship sitting there, and he's like, well, I don't really want him to be in trouble, or blah, blah, blah. And no guy wants to admit that to themselves, nonetheless anybody else. And this is what's happening here. So Hawk's basically like, he's pushing the responsibility onto somebody else. He's like, nah, it wasn't me, it was Yona. And says, your thanks should be given to him, not me, and all that stuff. And then Hawk just says, you know what, I'm going to go sleep. He's not actually going to sleep. He just doesn't want to deal with this conversation because he's, once again, a guy. He doesn't want to acknowledge that he actually tried to help soo-won, because Hawk doesn't want to help soo-won. He's convinced himself helping soo-won is a bad idea, is wrong. So it's very guy-like, and Hawk has always been portrayed in a very guy situation, as have most of the dragons. Actually, I have to say one thing about Yona. The characterization of men in this series is very on point. It really is. This is how most guys act, I mean, you can read between the lines for a lot of it, but in general, they are this is a very character-driven story, and the fact that they're well written in a very realistic method to how a 19-year-old man, no matter how the Thunder Beast himself or the king of the kingdom would be, this is how guys' relationships work. So, at the very least, in my experience, I'm a guy myself, so take that what you will, but I'm only one out of millions. So, but anyways, the other funny thing is that jae-ha is of course there and everything, and basically says, it's great that Senjuzo is safe and Hawk is safe and everything's all good. And then Yona says that this is a funny moment. Yona actually claims that, oh well, it's really good because Yona was the one who cried the most when Hawk was gone, wasn't he? And jae-ha is just like, and Yona's like, what? And even Hawk's like, well, at least Yona gave a shit, like sort of idea. It's like, what the hell are you talking about, Yona? You were crying, you're bawling your eyes out that you didn't want anybody to see. Like, come on. So after that, we get a little thing from Min-so, and then we sort of go into a bit of a narrative thing. The last thing from Min-so is, of course, acknowledging, because Min-so has been around long enough to know, that the Senjuzo couldn't cure His Majesty's illness, but the two of them have now become reconnected by the Senjuzo, and maybe that's he's sort of going on the limb that family and friends are the best medicine sort of idea, a little bit of that line, a little bit, because as he says, like, he doesn't want him to suffer even after everything that happened, thinking about Hawk, and thinks that maybe those two will finally be reconnected by this, because he's acknowledging the moment where soo-won felt no pain. And Min-so, like, I don't think Min-so knows that that's the moment where he felt no pain, but he's still thinking about it, and he's like, so, and now thinking also about Lady Min-yen. And Min-yen, then we go on to Min-yen, and that's when it's sort of like, here's where I have a bit of a problem with the chapter. I don't say the chapter sucks or whatever, but got a bit of a problem with this, the coming parts of the chapter. We see everyone chilling, the retreat of the South Kai Army, nothing really, no ceasefire or anything, so everybody's getting prepared, but we see a lot of shots of everyone recuperating. I believe it's and then we see a shot of Soo-won with extremely long hair in bed for some reason. Like, why is his hair so long? I have no idea. Anyways, but then we go back to Yon and Min-yen, who she's being a bit of a brat and all that stuff. And honestly, I don't really care for her character still. So I'm going to sort of skimp over this part. Is pretty much she can't leave the castle, can't she leave the room, blah, 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 blah. It's the whole Jasmine from Aladdin thing. You got it? Good. Perfect. So, basically convinces Yon when he's going out for medical herbs and stuff like that is that she's going to go with him and everything. And here's the part of the chapter that I don't like. There's a cool part of the chapter. There's two cool parts of the chapter in this scene anyways that I do like. But one thing is that Hyo-ri. Okay. We're going to need it. We're going to need a sip to go on this. This is going to be a tiny little tangent. Okay, Hyo-ri, since literally chapter 1, has been this terrifying, almost horrifying presence in the series when he has shown up. The murderous intent, the glaring eyes, it's been drawn like a horror manga with the fear and the sweat and the black sketch lines and everything surrounding this man has been dangerous. Even Hawk, the man himself, sweating a couple of bullets about this guy. He's fearful. He's dangerous. We know he worked for Soo-won's father. He's not a man to be trifled with. He's an assassin. He's dangerous, and he's probably end up going to have to fight Hawk. Somebody got to die. But in this chapter, now I read a little bit of the Discords. I'm part of a Yona Discord, so definitely go check that out. I might share this review. I try not to spam, self-promotion and stuff there, but I might just post this one. But yeah, so I was on a Yona Discord and I was on a Yona Reddit, and a lot of people like they're calling him Hyori the babysitter, or the grumpy babysitter, and stuff like that. That's what I've heard people calling him, and people are enjoying that aspect. No, I'm not. For all the reasons I already just listed about the murderous intent, the horror aspect. I mean, this is a drama, this is a romance, this is a fantasy manga, but there's these elements of horror. Like when Hawk's mad and serious, that level of sketchy, dark lines that are terrifying, right? That element has now been stripped away from him completely, and I don't like that. I understand why they did it. They're adding some levity to the situation, some comedy to the situation, stuff like that. The fact that he picks her up, like, we're going home now sort of idea, silently, like this grumpy bodyguard sort of idea. But that's the problem. He has been reduced to this grumpy bodyguard rather than this dangerous man in the shadows that we don't know where he is, what he's doing, and what he's thinking at all times. And he's scary, and he clearly won't hesitate to slice Yona's throat. That has been the establishment of this character for over 200 chapters. Since chapter 1, he was ready to murder Yona. In cold blood, no questions. And now all of a sudden he's been reduced to this babysitting role. It's not working for me. I very much dislike this. And I don't think it was a great idea. Because now they even make a joke of it. When we first show up, he said the guard is, and they show him in this almost chibi state, doom, ominous, written above him and stuff. And it's like, you have just torn down, like, you've just taken this very dangerous and just torn it right down. It'd be like in Lord of the Rings if the Balrog peeked around the pillar and went, hi, still here, doom, you know, like, no, you've taken away the seriousness of his character completely. And I don't think that was a good move. Because now I don't take him seriously. Because now he's become more human rather than a force of nature. When we were introduced to him, he's this dangerous, shadowy force of nature. We don't know what direction he's going to go. Now we know he's more human and just a man and stuff like that. And now it's dampened. It's very much dampened his character for me, like, considerably. That's the only reason I bring it up. That's why I said this is going to be a bit of a tangent, is because I absolutely dislike this section. Once again, this chapter is fine. This was a bad call. Absolutely. Let me know what you guys think about it. I'm not saying it's not funny and comedic and blah, 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 reducing him to that. But now, for everything future, I'm not going to be able to take the whole dangerous eye horror seriously. This isn't Hawk. This is a guy who murders people in cold blood like an assassin. This isn't Hawk who fights and is dangerous when you threaten his friends. This is a guy who will slit your throat for looking at him the wrong goddamn way. And he's been reduced to the grumpy babysitter. It's not working for me. I'm not going to be able to take him seriously. Or as seriously as I used to. You know? So, definitely. And the fact that Yon and Mei Nian know he's there, see him like half hiding behind a pillar like Chopper from One Piece, no. I didn't like that at all. Anyway, the fact of the matter is we get to see Lily and the guards again though, so moving on from that, that's the one bad aspect of the chapter. So the chapter rating goes down considerably for that. I still like the chapter overall. I hate that aspect. That really kills the potential of his character and a confrontation between him and Hawk later on down the road for me. Because now I absolutely know Hawk's going to win the fight. So before it was like, Hawk can't be killed, and now it's like, this guy is this deadly, we know nothing about him. He's just this dangerous, evil, kill you by looking at you person, you know. And now he's been stripped of that. He's been stripped of that the fear. The fear of the unknown has been stripped away. Now we know he's just a man. He's just a soldier. He's just a bodyguard. And that was a bad call. Just for me. That's just me. But anyways, so they go to town and all this blah, blah, blah shit. As I said, I don't really care about Mei Nian. But we get to see Lily again. And I don't know about you guys, but I like Lily. A lot of people ship soo-won and Lily. I like to see them more as comrades and friends rather than actual in a romantic relationship in that way. But I definitely like Lily as a character. I think Lily, some of the best parts of Yona was the rescuing Yona and Lily from the camp and all that stuff. Like, Lily has always been a good character, and the bodyguards have always been awesome as well and stuff. So we get a nice scene with them. They decide to go drinking with the girls, and of course Yona's there going like, listen, we're going to see OG and stuff, and we get to see OG after a while, so that's pretty cool. I always like OG. OG's always been a cool guy. We don't get to see much of him, but they're basically giving them all the updates that we, the readers, already know about the battle. Ceasefire isn't in effect, but South Kai did retreat. The battle's going the way the battle's going, yada, yada, yada. Apparently, Yona and the dragons, we haven't heard anything bad, so we can assume that they're okay. And Yona's like, okay, that's good. And this is where Yon, unfortunately, of course, is trying to say, like, Mei Nian's not even supposed to be outside the goddamn castle. You got to come back with me. And the girls are all like, nah, she can come drinking with us and all that stuff. So forces their hand and stuff. So Yon's very worried about Hawk, though, because they don't report about the Thunder Beast being found. So Yon is still very upset, wondering where Hawk is. And considering that, like, part of the reason that Hawk is missing is his fault in his mind, you know what I mean? So you can feel, like what Yona said earlier in the chapter, that Yon's the one who's cried the most. I mean, clearly that's not the case. It's been Yona. But Yon would be definitely the second one who's cried the most, because he feels like it's his fault. If he didn't insist to go for the Senjutsu, if he didn't do this, if he didn't do that, Hawk wouldn't be missing. So he definitely takes on that burden to himself. As I said, the girls go drinking, and pretty much it's acknowledged that Mei Nian had feelings for Val, and apparently Val doesn't have any feelings for her. I call bullshit. I'm sure Val does have feelings for Mei Nian, but this is feeling very much a Yona Hawk sort of story, because Val is acting very much like Hawk in this mini flashback, basically being like, oh yeah, get with soo-won, that's fine, you know, like that's what's gotta happen. I'm just a lowly guard sort of idea. We're seeing some parallels now, more parallels even, because Mei Nian was trying to compare herself to Yona before. We saw the parallels when she was first introduced. Now we're seeing the parallels coming back once again, is that she's in love, but it's a little bit reverse. Mei Nian is already in love with her Hawk, who's Val. She's already in love with him before she got involved with the higher ups, with the hierarchy, with kings and the emperors and all that shit, right? With the nobles. And Val is just, you know, I don't know how Val necessarily feels yet, but we're seeing some parallels with the romantic side of their characters as well. So they have a bit of the, you know, bit of a drunken little rant and yada yada yada, mini flashback and stuff, and then once again they get taken away. Now this is where pretty much there's incidents. Here's something that's going to be interesting, is that occasionally some stuff has happened. Guys on the barricades are drinking themselves unconscious and dying. You know, the palace guards of the castle towners are slipping into the river, that kind of stuff. So clearly assassins once again, and we know that Val is involved, because it shows up here at the end of the chapter, and Val is definitely the one with his little group to try to retrieve Mei Nian. So they've infiltrated, and when they've been spotted, they've made it look like accidents. So but they're not buying it. Like, Yon's a little concerned, OG's not buying it, none of them are buying it, right? So anyway, as they start going back towards the castle and everything like that, basically Hyo-ri runs off and notices something. He notices something. So clearly an assassin or something like that. He's clearly, or a distraction by Val or General Val, something like that. Either way, basically they're on a bridge. They're like, hey, wait, what's going on? And that's when little Hao jumps into Val's arms, and Val's right there and stuff like that, and it's like they notice the hair, it's short, all that stuff, and says, you know, I've come, you already know why, basically I've come to bring you back. And she goes, leave, don't come any closer, don't come near me. And Yon's like, who is this? He's a pursuer, he's here to take me away, I'm not going back, you know. And Val's like acknowledging, wait a minute, you're pretty lively, so you aren't actually imprisoned at all, so you're not behind bars, you're not being mistreated, you know, all that stuff. And she says, exactly. So she doesn't want to go back. She's done with South Kai and stuff like that. And you can understand from her perspective. I don't really care much for her character, but from what we know of her character, you could fully understand why she would not want to go back. I wouldn't want to go back. So she says, and now she puts it on. I live happily here, and I'm happy and content and all that stuff. I mean, she's really putting it on, but trying to get him to leave and say, tell the Emperor I'm already dead, and give me back my little hoe. And Val basically, so she, of course, remember, she's a general herself. She actually attacks Val and gets her little squirrel back, but then boom, Val takes her down and basically says, I'll give you your little hoe back, but I'm not going home empty-handed, leader. I'm bringing you back with me to South Kai. Boom, boom, boom. End of chapter. So the fact of the matter is that Yona's gone. I mean, Lily's there and everything, but soo-won, Yona, I should say, the dragons, Hawk, they're all fine, but they're all gone from the castle. Jodo's gone. Only Hyo-ri and Lily and her bodyguards are really there to pose any real threat at this point. So this doesn't look good. Now, next chapter is, of course, a month from now. But, there's going to be some speculation onto what exactly is going to happen here. I actually don't know. I find this direction to be a little odd. I didn't expect to jump back to the castle like this. So I'm been thrown for a bit of a loop. So I have zero predictions on if we're going to be following. Are we going to jump back and forth? Are we going to see Soo-won, Yona, and the dragons next chapter? Or is it going to be, are we going to follow Main Yan, Val, and Yon's journey for the next couple of chapters? Possibly. I have no real idea about that. But either way, no, I really enjoyed this chapter for sure. For the first half was very good. And the second half was okay. But once again, I really don't like, not to reiterate, but Hyo-ri, Grumpy Babysitter, does not fly with me. I think that really lowered the stakes in what his character is supposed to represent. I think it was a bad call. But let me know what you all thought in the comment section down below. So, with that being said, that's the end of the chapter, end of the review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe. As always, fourth and most importantly is to drink but responsibly, as I always do. And we will see you beautiful people back here once again for Yona of the Dawn. Yona of the Dawn. I did something funky there. That probably didn't work out. I'll stick to the original. I'll stick to what I'm good at. Monotone, raising the bar. Monotone, just raising it up next time. All right. So, but definitely stick around for chapter 227, and we'll see you guys back here next time. All right. Have a good one, everyone. Hope you had a good weekend. Bye-bye.